I'm really excited that you're about to watch one of my favorite stories about one of my favorite people in the world, Derek Rabelo. I'm Brian Jennings, the director of the Beyond Sight series, and 25 years ago, I stepped out in faith to make my first movie, and we had no idea what was about to happen, but God did more than we could have ever imagined. And we had 500 people show up, and I remember just feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we did it. Like, we actually made a movie. Everyone showed up, they loved the movie. And this lady came up to me and she said, Brian, this is not the mountaintop, this is just the beginning. And she was right. We not only made one film, but we ended up making 12 movies through the generous support of donors, friends, family, and not only touring them in our hometown, but to 35 countries. And we had 500,000 people show up for the movie screenings in movie theaters like this one. Sometimes they were on the beach, sometimes they were at schools, but all over the place. And we ended up having our movies being watched by 50 million people with the help of a Sony Pictures distribution deal for one of the movies. And really, after all that happened, we were able to just step back recently and just look at what happened really was the power of a testimony. When somebody shares their life story of what God's done in their life, and we put it into a movie or a series or a show, it's so powerful. So I want to share with you what we're doing next. We have launched Win and See Studios. It's a for-profit production company that will be producing movies and shows and series like the one you're about to watch. And we also have launched Movies on a Mission, which is a non-profit Christian ministry that takes those movies that are being produced and those series and those shows and brings them to the world through free streaming, through events, or even through social impact projects. When someone in your hometown or mine has gone through something really traumatic, Movies on a Mission will come in, do a movie screening, host a movie screening, but it's really a fundraiser for that hurting family that's been through something. They need funds, and we're able to come in with the encouragement of a movie, but then also raise money for them. So Movies on a Mission and Win and See Studios work hand in hand as we now continue to move forward, impacting people's lives through the power of story. I want to include you and invite you and ask you to join us on our first project that's coming up. It's called Kids on the Wall. It's a major motion picture. It's similar to Karate Kid, but instead of karate, it's surfing, skateboarding, music. It's going to be filmed here in Southern California and also in Hawaii. We're raising $2.5 million so that we can film this movie this fall, 2023. And I want to invite you, join us either as an investor or a donor, but we need to raise $2.5 million so we can go and make this movie, and we're really excited to do that. You're actually about to watch the proof of concept trailer that we put together for Kids on the Wall. And you'll be the first to see it, and we hope you enjoy it. So you're about to watch Kids on the Wall proof of concept trailer, and right after that, the Beyond Sight series will begin. So I hope you enjoy both, and thank you in advance if you decide to make a donation or come and make an investment into this next movie, Kids on the Wall. So God bless you and enjoy this show.
You know what? I'm done with this.
You're done with what?
With all this.
I know it's gonna be hard, but you're gonna make new friends. Ride that ugly surfboard you love.
My mom moved us to a small town in Southern California. I didn't belong, and I didn't fit in, until I met the Kids on the Wall. We were all misfits and outsiders, but had the same dream, to become professional surfers.
So I heard you're gonna quit. Well, everyone quits at some point, right? Might as well be my turn.
Guys, when you're surfing, it's not about the board. It's about what you do with it. I don't make one board the same. And in the same way, God, He's making you specific for a purpose.
God? Where's he been in any of this?
Chris helped me see there was more to life than just winning the next contest. He said that if I didn't let go of my past, it would destroy me. He was right.
It's from Chris. He saved it for you.
I realized later that when I found my first surfboard, the deeper truth was that the surfboard I loved, it really found me. When something or someone chooses you, it knows your purpose. It knows who you are, who you're capable of being, even if you don't know it yet yourself.
Full speed ahead! Knock it off!
Over the next few months, I received Skype calls from Derek almost daily. I would teach him English over the phone as we planned our trip to Hawaii. I picked up Derek from the airport and could tell he was very happy to be back on the island of Oahu. With Billabong inviting Derek to be their guest at the Pipeline Masters, he wanted to share this special opportunity with his original surf coach, Maru. What better place to meet at than Mr. Matsumoto's Shaved Ice in Haleiwa?
Pô, Havaí é o sonho de qualquer surfista, né, cara? Eu sempre sonhei desde molequinho.
I am stoked to go back to Hawaii for a second time. And I have another chance to surf Pipeline again.
Tava indo pra Havaí ainda com meu irmão, assim, meu filho, pô, meu melhor amigo.
Diamond Head Surfboards sponsored Derek and had 2 brand new boards waiting for him. Between Derek's surfing tandem with Rob Machado and Laird Hamilton, and now finding a shaper to build Derek's boards, we had accomplished 2 of the 3 assignments Kelly Slater had given to us.
Nobody ever thought that a blind surfer could stand up on a surfboard and get barrels, and Maru was the guy who believed, who had the patience to take him to surf almost every day.
We stopped at the local surf shop to get Derek some things he needed for his new boards. Maru helped him put his sponsor stickers on, and we were on our way to show Maru the famous Pipeline. It was huge, and only the big wave riders were surfing. We could feel each wave break as it shook the beach, and I was reminded of all the times I traveled to Hawaii and was so humbled by the power of the ocean. These guys make it look so easy, but if a pipeline wave broke on top of a bus, it would crush it.
Pipeline is a dream for any surfer if he likes barrel, like I do.
It took us a while, but we finally convinced Derek it was too big for him to surf that day. We sat there for a long time watching the surfers get incredible rides, and I started to get nervous for Derek, just thinking about him trying to surf out there over the next few days.
The Billabong Pipe Master is the biggest surf event in the world. I'm very happy the Billabong invited me to be a part of the event.
We headed over to the Billabong house, and Maru was starstruck by the best surfers in the world who were now Derek's friends.
I guess the Pipeline Masters is the Super Bowl of surfing. It's such an honor for Derek to get on the list of invitees to come and watch, to be a part of, something huge in surfing. It's ironic that he's a part of the Billabong team. That when Billabong first started, their slogan was "Only a surfer knows the feeling," and I think, still today that rings deep with every surfer.
The next morning, the waves were smaller, so the contest was on hold. However, the conditions were perfect for Derek, and we met up with his friend Makua Rothman, who had taken him out to Pipeline the winter before. With thousands of traveling surfers going to the famous North Shore, the crowds in the water often become very aggressive and dangerous. In response to these crowds, Eddie Rothman, Brian Amona, Kawika Stan Jr., Kalai DeKau, and others founded a club known as the Dahui, or the Black Shorts.
The Hui started out, and it still is, Huyo He'inalu, a club of wave sliders. It was just a bunch of guys before. Now it's family. It's still pretty hardcore, It's all mostly just local people hundreds and hundreds of members.
They have club meetings, we have Christmas parties, Easter egg hunts, beach cleanups. It's just basically a club of great families that come together and enjoy themselves. My dad is one of the founders, and I'm one of the members.
It was formed because there was all kinds of foreigners coming over here, trying to catch every single wave, driving fast, with no respect at all. A lot of people, they don't know how we feel because they don't live in a place where everybody wants to be.
This is a place where the whole world just descends on. So there had to be some kind of respect thing, you know?
Makua and Koa Rothman, along with Kala Alexander, Bruce Irons, and recent prodigy Eli Olson, are a few of the new generation in the Dahui, this club of wave riders. Being raised in the big waves of Hawaii, they can definitely surf, and they are especially comfortable in huge waves. Makua brought his brother Koa and his friends John, Wiggly, and Kala. These guys were not only his pipeline chaperones, but were also some of Derek's greatest fans. Derek was definitely paddling out with the right group of guys.
It was amazing to have my friend Makua help me in Hawaii again.
I couldn't believe it. I was sitting out in the lineup at Pipeline, about to watch my blind friend surf one of the most dangerous waves in the world. I was scared and excited for him at the same time.
Yeah, Derek.
Most people had told him he could never do it, but on the first set of the morning, he did it. I watched Derek as he would hold his board with one hand and feel the wave with the other. Through listening and feeling, he would position himself perfectly for each ride. Every surfer in the water was amazed and were cheering him on. Derek had picked up where he and Makua had left off the winter before, but he was not able to find a barrel. It was clearly not going to be easy. As we got out of the water and rushed off to the Pipeline Masters press conference, I could tell Maru was frustrated with Derek for having his local friends and the pro surfers do all the coaching instead of him.
Que antigamente era só eu e ele, e sempre deu certo, cara. Aí chegando no Havaí, cara, toda hora aparecia ou outro para dar palpite aqui, outro ali.
Much like Derek Ho's situation back in 1993, the world title would be determined here at the final stop of the world tour at the Pipeline Masters. However, I think Derek felt that the title had already been won. At the press conference, we were able to make our way through the crowd of media to say hello to Kelly.
How was Pipeline?
Maru, this is Kelly, man.
My surf coach.
Now, Kelly's kind of Derek's surf coach too, so I don't know, your surf coach? Yeah, let's do that.
Who's stronger?
Arm wrestle. We were at the beach early the following morning, and the contest was on, and the waves were pumping for the first heats of the Pipe Masters. The next few days, we enjoyed watching the contest from the beachfront VIP Billabong House. Derek was bombarded everywhere we went by his new fans. Billabong gave Derek some more good news. They told him that if the conditions were just right for him, they would allow him to surf in the expression session between the semifinal and the final. This would be the perfect opportunity to surf Pipeline with no crowd and hopefully get the barrel. They interviewed Derek on the live webcast, and his fame was growing. He was being pulled in many directions, and Maru was becoming more quiet and reserved.
Tá famosão, aí acho que isso deve ter subido, cabeça dele, um menino novo ainda.
Eu sempre falo com ele que ele tem que ser humilde. Teve uma época que o Derek, até comigo mesmo, eu não tenho vergonha de falar, ele estava muito rebelde, entendeu? E eu fiquei muito triste e falei com o Senhor, Senhor, eu não quero meu filho assim. Não quero, porque eu não criei ele assim.
Derek wanted to bring us to his Brazilian church on the North Shore. It was great to meet Derek's friends who had helped Derek and Magno during their first trip to Hawaii a year before. When Pastor Luis first met Derek, he immediately saw his potential.
Derek, he came to Hawaii. I met him at church. I say, so Derek, are you Christian? How serious is your faith in Jesus?
Pastor Luis reminded Derek of how much God had done over the past year, and that his fame was a gift and was to be used only to share his faith and inspire the world. The waves were forecasted to be small over the next few days. The contest was on hold, so the quest to get Derek's barrel would have to wait. I couldn't believe the doors that continued to open for Derek on this trip. He even got a call from a few Brazilian friends who invited him to go skydiving.
Smile.
Once again, Derek showed us that he has no fear. However, he did say that he never wanted to do that again. The new swell arrived right on time, and it seemed like everyone on the entire island was on the beach for the final day of the Billabong Pipeline Masters. And we all hoped that Derek would get the opportunity to surf between the semis and the finals.
Kurt just hurt himself in? Well, the Kurt get hurt. Yeah, they're saying so.
We were all disappointed when Billabong decided that the conditions were too dangerous for Derek to surf that day. As everyone on the beach was enjoying the dramatic final of the Pipe Masters, it became obvious that Maru was not happy with Derek.
Pô, o sonho virou pesadelo. Por quê? De que adianta ter um bom patrocínio? De que adianta surfar com os melhores surfistas do mundo? Do que adianta estar no Havaí, mas esquecer da onde veio?
The competition was over, and within a few days, most of the pro surfers and media were gone. The North Shore seemed much more quiet and peaceful. We checked the waves often, and when the conditions were just right for Derek, we headed out. Today looked really promising for the barrel.
O Derek não pode nada, mas Deus pode.
I tried to encourage Derek by reminding him that most pro surfers have to spend many winters on the North Shore before they have the skill to even surf at Pipeline. And there was a reason why Kelly suggested having Mike Stewart help him get the barrel. The forecast was for stormy weather, which meant bad waves over the next few days. so I thought it would be a good time to head over to an outer island for a change of pace, and for Derek and Maru to meet my good friend, Bethany Hamilton. When Bethany was 13 years old, she lost her arm in a shark attack while surfing in Hawaii. 1 month later, she miraculously returned to the water and through her faith and determination, continued on to a professional surfing career. She has inspired millions of people through her story that was told in the Hollywood film Soul Surfer.
My first time I heard about Derek, I think it was like maybe a year or so ago, and I seen this video clip of him surfing pipeline on Oahu, and I was like tripping out. I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy.
It was a stormy day with strong winds, but I knew Bethany would have something fun for all of us to do. More than anything, I wanted Derek and Bethany to have some quality time getting to know each other.
I'm so stoked about today. I got to meet Derek. Sadly, the waves were kind of bad. We started off check the waves, and it was just like a washing machine. So I took Derek to this really cool water slide.
An adventure that did not include surfing was exactly what Derek and Maru needed to hopefully help their friendship. As we walked up the muddy path to the waterfall slide, I kept imagining what that moment would be like if I was blind.
I went off my first one and I put my hand over my eyes to pretend like I was blind. I was like freaking out.
Water is cold. Yeah, I know. The water was very cold. You a bad boy. And I'm a bad boy. Bethany's a bad girl because she brought you here.
No, I put mud on you.
You're all that I want.
It was at this moment when I realized this might have been a really bad idea. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. We packed up and rushed to the airport to make our flight back to Oahu. Bethany and Derek both inspire so many people, and I had a feeling they needed to meet one another and become friends.
Each of us have something special to share, and Derek certainly does, like with all that he's achieved.
Bethany knows the challenges that Derek is facing. She has much more experience being a famous role model than Derek does. I am glad that they are now friends, and I'm sure they will stay close in the coming years.
Bethany Hamilton is amazing inspiration for everyone.
People like Bethany Hamilton and Derek, the burden that they experience through the handicaps or that we consider handicaps, their pain or their difficulties that they experience in the positions that they're in because of what's happened to them are for a higher purpose. And so if you look at these as lessons in the interest of all, and you can be sympathetic as well, but at the same time you can be inspired.
On our drive back to the North Shore, I was hoping Bethany's advice would sink in and encourage Derek. We heard the surf report that Pipeline was getting better, and Maru was the first to paddle out.
Pegando altas ondas em pipeline e minha prancha que eu tava surfando quebrou. Então pedi a prancha dele emprestado, cara. Aí ele virou pra mim e falou que pô, não tinha como me emprestar a prancha.
I had no idea what to do. Derek and Maru wouldn't even talk to each other after that. Maru had felt left out in the midst of Derek's success and fame. Later that day, Derek checked in with his parents and gave them the update on how his trip was going.
Quando o Derek me contou, né, por telefone, que ele e o Maru estavam nessa situação lá no Havaí, eu fiquei muito triste, chorei muito e fui orar. Pedi ao Senhor que Deus entrasse com providência.
Uma estadia que era para ser de 3 meses, com menos de 1 mês, estava doido para vir embora.
Maru, he means a lot to me, and I felt bad that he was upset. I said sorry. Our friendship is worth more.
Derek wanted to make amends and buy Maru a surfboard. After that, things were better between them. I think Maru realized that Derek was young and, like all of us, was learning some difficult life lessons. Maru headed back to Brazil around the same time that Magno, Derek's friend and other surf coach, would be arriving on the North Shore. It was great to see Magno and fill him in on all that had happened.
Thank you, Lord. Pipeline is firing so good today.
Oh, man,
I can't wait.
The waves were good, and Magno and Derek were back on their mission to get a barrel.
Even today, I was talking to him on the beach, and I would tell Derek, just make sure that you remember from where you came from, you know. This is really important for you. Because it's hard, because everyone tells you, oh, you're famous, you're famous.
It was easy to see how much Derek respects Magno, and he was just who Derek needed after seeing Maru leave. The waves were good, and Magno and Derek were back on their mission to get a barrel.
Both Derek and Magno are fortunate to find each other, you know. It's a testament to where Magno's mindset is at with Derek. Here's a guy that wants to get in the water and experience the surf. Doesn't matter what his situation is. It's like Magno's the kind of guy that will help you do that.
It was really crowded, and Derek couldn't catch a wave, and I was really frustrated actually to not let him catch at least one wave. When we got back to the beach, we started to talk, and I was explaining to him how crowded it was. We're gonna have another day.
Everyone was frustrated. Derek had tried to get a barrel with the help of Makua and the local Hawaiians, Maru, and even with Magno, and it wasn't happening. If there is one thing that all surfers agree with, it is to always respect the ocean, and trying to force something especially as dangerous as getting barreled at pipeline is never a good idea. Derek also received the bad news that because of financial hardship, his dad finally lost the family surf shop. That shop meant so much to him and his family, and it was where he spent a lot of his childhood. Derek wandered off by himself, and we were trying to find him. I couldn't imagine what it would be like to be lost and blind.
Derek wanted to experience the waves. Magno's
His personality was changing a lot with a lot of people, but not with me.
Desde o início aí, tem uma boa vontade com o Derek, ele tem ensinado ele.
Colocava minhas mãos sobre a cabeça dele e falava
I say, so Derek, are you Christian?
Senhor, me ensina a cuidar dele.
How serious is your faith in Jesus?
We finally found Derek, and the next day, Magno had an idea that would hopefully help him in his tough time. We tracked down Derek Ho, who Derek Rabelo was named after. Magno reminded Derek that his parents named him after a pipeline legendary surfer. He wanted Derek to understand that even his name was a prophecy of the life he would live.
To me, his dad had a dream for him. Whether he could see or not, he's fulfilled that dream.
I finally shared something with Derek that I had wanted to tell him since we were in California. I reminded him of how he had helped Kelpton's family through the most difficult time of their lives.
When we first saw Derek surfing pipeline, we were speechless and crying in the operating room waiting for our son to come out. For us, it was such an uplifting story. There was hope for whatever our son Kelpton wanted to do in life.
If you're going to surf pipeline, you need Jesus, man. I reminded Derek that God has a perfect plan for his life. that Jesus Christ died on a cross and rose from the dead, not only to forgive our sins, but to then work in and through us, so that we can help others as we live by faith.
I grew up in a Christian family my entire life. But at this moment, I knew I needed to make my faith my own. I decided to get baptized at Pipeline.
Aqui, e eu creio que Deus tem muito mais ainda para o Derek se ele tiver o coração ligado para o Senhor, né? E que as pessoas possam acreditar no milagre, que é milagre que Deus está fazendo.
Stand on the shores of the side unseen, the substance of dwells in me, cause my natural eyes on the ghost skin deep, but the eyes of my heart anchored and said, a beggar could be king within the shadows of Wayne.
Later that day, Magno, Derek, and I talked about fear and faith, and I was reminded of when I first met Derek and watched him tow surf with seemingly no fear at all.
It's all about fun. It's all about having fun and enjoying it. And when it stops becoming fun, figure out a new way to do it or stop doing it.
I thought I would ask one more time if Derek wanted Mike Stewart to help him get the barrel. Surprisingly, this time, he agreed, and Magno gave Mike a call. Mike Stewart is the godfather of bodyboarding. He pioneered and pushed the sport arguably further than anyone. From pulling into the heaviest waves at Pipeline to mentoring the next generation, Mike is a genuine leader and waterman.
I remember when Derek told me he met Kelly Slater in California.
Kelly's brainchild, we'll call it, which was to get me to pilot Derek through some barrels. I think he honestly wanted to see it all play out.
What we were trying to accomplish was extremely dangerous, so we took every precaution we could.
I had some suggestions for him early on where to put his hands and how to ride. I was kind of telling him, hey, just hold on my shoulders, don't wrap around too much because I can't breathe. Stretch out so you're kind of more like a board rather than crunching up, and then it's going to cause too much drag. So I just gave him some basic tips of like maybe how to do it, and then he was seemed gung-ho, man. He just wanted to do it.
From the beginning, we were doing everything we could for Derek to get his own barrel. But today I realized that there was a better plan, to humble ourselves and receive the help we needed from an expert like Mike Stewart.
One of the tricky things about going tandem on the bodyboard is you want to make sure that your passenger is pretty stable. I was trying to communicate to Derek that, hey, you want to stay kind of straight. You don't want to be wobbling too much. So just try to like ride me like you're just riding your own board, So I'll just be like a living board.
We were at Pipeline paddling to the lineup, and Derek, Mike over there, and over a sudden I looked behind me and Kelly Slater starting to paddle. I was like, man, these three guys is now a reality.
We took off on a couple waves, and at first I just wanted to get a feel for him, holding on and how it all work. That was good, but every time after the wave, he'd go, well, did we get barreled? Did we get barreled? Did we get barreled? I'm like, no, we didn't get barreled. It was kind of funny, like he was so amped to get in the barrel. And so paddled back out, and then a real one came.
And I remember this wave came and was a really steep wave, the drop was gonna be gnarly, and I thought, man, these guys, they're not gonna make this.
Mike was willing to literally put Derek on his shoulders and carry him to and through his dream of getting a barrel at Pipeline.
He knew right when it happened, but he sensed that we were in the barrel and he started screaming.
He got barrel and he was like screaming, and I saw them in the channel and they were like, ah!
And he screamed so loud, it was like, man, my left ear was sore afterwards. It was just like ringing. But he was super stoked, and that was worth it, like right there. That was pretty cool. And that just kind of led me to think that, you know, there's more going on in the barrel for wave riders than just the senses. It's like there's something visceral that's happening there.
As our trip in Hawaii came to an end, we were so thankful for all that had happened.
Who am I to be so blessed? I'm just a blind boy from a small town in Brazil. But God put amazing people in my life.
Aí eu aprendi com ele que dá para fazer as coisas. A gente acha que é impossível, né? Mas para Deus não tem nada impossível.
He's fulfilling a dream, you know, that his father had for him, and you know, it gives me hope.
Porque a gente nunca sabe o que pode ser, que Deus possa fazer mais à frente, como está fazendo com o Derek hoje.
Derek and I realized that it was not about the wave. It's actually about inspiring and encouraging people to live a life full of energy and full of joy and full of hope.
Bom menino, eu mesmo assim eu perdoo, eu amo, entendeu? Se tiver que fazer tudo de novo, eu faço tudo de novo.
It was a privilege to become friends with Derek during such an exciting season of his life. Somewhere along the way, in the midst of his struggles and many victories, he matured and became a young man.
Along the journey, doors continued to open. The Dahui even closed pipe for me to surf.
I think Derek wanting to surf Pipeline is amazing. For somebody that has never seen Pipeline and only heard about it, I can just only imagine, you know, the visions that he creates in his head. I don't know. He just baffles me. The kid's the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
I think being a surfer, it's all about faith, because you are waiting for something that you really can't see.
Continue being yourself and have fun surfing and don't let the cares of this world take over.
I mean, a challenge for us most of the time is like, oh, my board doesn't work. But, you know, get your arm eaten by a shark. Or lose your sight before you're born, and try to have the experience of the things you have now. Try it for a day or try it for a second, and, you know, learn to appreciate what you have a lot quicker.
Kelly had promised Derek that if he completed his 3 assignments, he would surf Pipeline with him. And it was great to see Kelly be true to his word.
What I have learned from the creator of the waves is that faith is seeing the invisible.
At the end of the day, my friend Derek continues to teach me that the best journeys in life are lived by faith and not by sight.
Struck down, but I've never been destroyed. I'm never gonna let the pain kill the joy.